The stepmother of an 11-year-old little boy named Letecia Stauch is currently on trial for his murder. There are some pretty damning pieces of evidence in that arrest affidavit that was released, and it will be even more interesting when it comes to her trial. But today, I thought it would be very important to point out one of the biggest damning pieces of evidence in the case, in my opinion. The attempted purchase of a fake polygraph test and the contents of what was desired to say in that purchase. You see, during the investigation and search for Gannon, Letecia liked to visit true crime groups, even checked out my videos, and did interviews with Crime Online. Fun little fact, Letecia would watch my videos, I would ask questions directly to her in them, and she would answer those questions with reporters, not to me. It was really interesting and actually quite humorous. So Letecia agreed to do an interview with Crime Online on February 20th of 2020, 3 weeks after Gannon was murdered, and just 10 days before her actual arrest. Letecia told Crime Online that she wanted to provide some results of an independent lie detector test. She said she wanted to meet up in person at a Starbucks in Myrtle Beach in South Carolina and talk. She told them she didn't want to send the results, though, electronically. A few days later, Letecia said there were safety issues and that she had to reschedule their meeting. Crime Online did a phone interview with her on February 24th, and they set a new date for Letecia to provide these test results. Letecia promised Crime Online to allow them to evaluate the independent agent's credentials and law enforcement along with results of the tests. But the morning that Letecia was supposed to meet up, she canceled yet again. And it was said when she offered to do the interview at a later time without the lie detector test results, Letecia insisted that she passed the test, but she just needed some more time to coordinate with this independent agent to join her for the interview. 4 days later, Letecia Stauch was arrested. What really happened is quite shocking, yet at the same time not shocking, especially because it's about and from Letecia Stauch, and these days, well, anything goes. What position she was really in was in a pickle. You see, she ordered an independent test all right, she just couldn't get the results she wanted. And now we'll dive into what the desired test was and what happened. So now, let's get into it. 3 days before the conversation with Crime Online occurred, Letecia spoke to 2 people on the phone, and that was intercepted by investigators on February 17th. In the affidavit, it states, on a February 17th, 2020 call at or about 1353 hours, Letecia told a female believed to be associated with Laura Abernathy that she was thinking about flying out to Colorado to take a lie detector test to prove her innocence. During that call, she stated, they think I'm still in Colorado. On another February 17th call at or about 111 hours, Letecia told an unknown female that she's going to take a lie detector test, but that the test is not admissible in court and no law enforcement would be present. Now, the next day, Letecia made another call, which was intercepted also by investigators. Only this time, the number was associated with fake POLYGRAPH.com. On the call, she allegedly asked the person about a confirmation number for a test she paid for, then called back a second time when she hadn't received her test. But the answer she was given was a lot different than what she was looking and hoping for. The male who answered responded to her and said that her report was blocked by management based on the content of the questions, and that with any type of illegal activities, they have the right to not send the report. Letecia says, what do you do now? Just delete it and go on about life and keep the money? And the male responded, yes, we do indeed. Letecia says, okay, I gotcha, thank you, goodbye. Imagine what she was thinking at that point. Now, law enforcement then contacted the company that Letecia spoke with, and they provided the questions that Letecia wanted on the polygraph. Here's where it gets very interesting. When you look at fakepolygraph.com, there are 2 packages, one that's $60 US dollars and one for $300, where it gives you, legit emails and forms and makes it, look more credible, I guess you could say. On the website, it says, how does it work? It says it's really simple. Using our secure order form, you choose up to 3 questions detailing a yes or no answer for each. You also confirm the detail you wish to be placed on the authentic certificate, such as your name and date of birth. To further keep the transaction secure, payment is processed by PayPal. Once the questions have been approved by our team of experienced examiners, you will then be sent an email containing a PDF attachment. and you're to get that within 1 hour. Then it's up to you. It says, a convincing way is to print and post the report to yourself. The next question says, why can I only have a maximum of 3 questions? It says, in a real test, you will only be asked a maximum of 3 specific questions. That is why we only offer 3 specific questions. We endeavor to make our test as real as possible, so we adhere to the regulations for formulating questions as would the examiner in a real test. It is not possible to ask certain questions, and it may be that the wording has to be tweaked. If the examiner would not ask you the question in a real test, we will not use that question in the report. So Letecia chose 2 qualifying type questions and then her 3 specific questions. Ready for this? Her 2 qualifying ones are, do you intend to answer these questions regarding your stepson truthfully? Answer, yes. Is your birthday August 4th, 1983? Yes. Then comes the 3 specific ones she desired. And she can ask any question pretty much, right? You with me, right? Here's what she chose. Number 1, did you participate in any way in causing harm to your stepson? No, which means yes. Did your stepson return with you to your home? Yes. Did you participate in any way in causing the death of your stepson? No. Now, this certainly makes things interesting, doesn't it? And to seek out a fake polygraph because you really wouldn't be able to pass these questions on a real one, wouldn't you agree? Let me know what you think below. So the questions, did you participate in any way in causing harm to your stepson? The answer really is yes. Did you participate in any way in causing the death of your stepson? The answer is yes. Notable, this was requested a month before Gannon's body was found. So how'd she know if he was dead if she didn't participate in it, right? The other question is a little bit of a stumper, and I mentioned that in my recent synopsis video I did. I'll have that in the link below or at the end of this video. It says, did your stepson return with you to your home? Yes. Now, before the arrest affidavit was released, I did a few videos actually on the truck Letecia drove that day and Gannon getting into the truck and the possibility that Gannon didn't return home that afternoon and the reasons why I thought so. And opinions definitely differed. The neighbor who supplied the video of the security cam also said that Gannon didn't come back. And then the affidavit came back and it was a shocker and said that Gannon most likely did come home and there was blood evidence in his room, etc. But Letecia wanted this question on this fake polygraph test. Now, there's a reason I don't really want to dive into this too much, but I'll leave it at that. Now, in court documents, the detective wrote, I submit to the court that if Letecia had nothing to hide, she would not have to pay for fake polygraph results. Also, like I said, she's saying that Gannon's dead. Nobody knew that, technically, but Letecia did. Letecia also had Google searches that were quite feisty and interesting before, during, and after Gannon's murder. She seemed to take her frustrations out on Google and then obviously on Gannon. Letecia was arrested in South Carolina on March 2nd, just a few days after a judge signed off on a warrant, and she was extradited back to Colorado. It took her 3 days to drive from Colorado to Florida while allegedly toting Gannon in that van stuffed in a suitcase with her in the vehicle and her daughter, Harley. And Letecia checked into a hotel just 3 miles away from where Gannon's body would later be found. Opening statements of her trial will begin on April 3rd, 2023. She pled not guilty by reason of insanity, a plea she changed to from not guilty. But now we have a problem. Letecia initially entered that plea of not guilty following her arrest in March 2020, then changed that to not guilty by reason of insanity in February of 2022. The judge allowed for this change in plea without first having the results of this sanity evaluation. And 13 months later, the defense still hadn't provided it to the court until very, very recently. And the doctor who provided it is said to be well known and an expert and an author. Her name's Dr. Dorothy Lewis, but she was far past the deadline. It was supposed to be due in February. The judge gave another deadline of March 20th and said, no matter what, you need to get it in by then. And from what I'm reading, that wasn't even provided until the 21st, that's what the reports are saying. And it was said that Letecia was in a state of psychosis at the time of the murder. Well, what about the other 2 evaluations that deemed her competent? And that was back in January of 2021. That's the second one. There's a chance that this doctor, though, won't be able to give her testimony. We'll see about what the judge says about all of that and see what District Attorney Michael Allen says about that. This is just awful. Check out my full story on the case right here. It's a quick synopsis, and you can also dive into 70+ videos right here. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next video.